Well, I thank you both for joining me to talk about your film, Sleepwalk Kill. It's out now on the VOD. So congratulations for that, by the way.
Thank you kindly.
Thank
Very
you so much.
I'm a huge supporter of indie film. I have been covering a lot of indie film for many years, for over a decade now.
Nice.
So I watching your film, I dug it quite a bit. Appreciate it. So how did this come about? I guess we'll start with Justin. Justin, how did this come about? Where did this come from for your idea for this film?
So the idea for the film, I guess, came from like my love of horror and a lot from my fascination with like sleep and dreams and things. Um, so like I like I used to like try to stay up for multiple days on end, see what that felt like, or I read books on like lucid dreaming, and like I even knew a few people who used to wake up screaming from night terrors. And that sort of thing is like traumatizing for like anyone. And it just so happens that my wife can talk in her sleep. So like I
Really?
have a conversation with her and she won't remember a word that she said. And that is really creepy. So I guess that kind of is where the concept came from. But what really I was saying this before, what really got me off like my ass to actually make a film though was my daughter who kind of referred to me as the guy on the sofa because I just sat there and watched movies. And I
Sure.
was like, and I wanted I wanted, just to show her, hey, look, this is something that I've wanted to do for so long, and you can see me interact with all these characters on set and stuff, and so she was kind of like the inspiration to get off my ass and actually write a movie that I could shoot. So.
So how long did it take you to write it? Did you write it during the pandemic or was this before pandemic when you shot this?
Way actually before the pandemic, like we finished wrap shooting like 2 months before the pandemic
Oh,
ended,
wow.
or 2 months before the pandemic started, sorry.
Yeah.
So that's when we wrapped shooting, but I probably wrote it about a year before we started shooting, and like I did it in kind of two short bursts where like I spent like a week writing about half the screenplay, took a few months off, and then just did the same thing with the second half. So not too long. Usually when I get inspired, I can move through things pretty quickly. So.
Now, Bill, did you and Justin know each other for a while? Did he write this part for you, or did he seek
We
you
didn't
out?
we didn't know each other at all. I showed up on set and he went, "Whoa, you're tall," and
It seemed like I read the part for you, except for the I mean, you know, what the basement was like. How it was like for maybe someone like 5'10" maximum, right?
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I showed up and I was like, "Oh, I'll try to be more diminutive or something. I promise I'm not tall out of spite or anything like that." And then I was like, "How is that going to be a problem?" Then we spend half the shoot in a basement, and I'm like, here is where height could impede. But no, our I guess the connection, the middle person was my co-star in the movie and our casting director Samantha Russell, who knew me through the Philadelphia sketch comedy scene, which Justin was also participated in. Samantha and I wrote for different teams, and then she saw me in a play. It was a Philadelphia Fringe Festival play that my friend Jack O'Keefe wrote, and then she, I guess, saw me in a different this different setting. I wasn't
Mm.
doing fart jokes and stuff like that. So she was like, "Oh, maybe
Sure.
he could pretend to have the gravitas
Sure.
to be in like a serious movie here." And so then Samantha, who to whom I'm indebted, was kind enough to go to Justin and be like, "Hey, we should check out this Bill Reick for the movie. He might be a good Edgar."
Well, I'm glad they did pick you because you were a good Edgar.
Thank you.
What did you think when you read the part for who Edgar was?
I thought
Did you
I'm not
think
gonna
that
have
this
to.
was written for me? Is that
I,
Yeah,
yeah.
I kind of was just like, oh yeah, cool. I don't have to learn how to act because I'm kind of that guy. Like I had, my life too had just kind of like semi recently fallen apart during that. Like I was
Mhm.
very newly sober when I read the
Well,
script. So I was like, okay, yeah, I can connect with this guy. I might not be uh divorced from a woman, but I'm divorced from uh
sure. Yeah.
alcohol dependency. So so I was like, yeah, I could get into this. And then it was cool. He was just like a sad sack, and I was like, I can identify with that. And and then luckily by the time we got on set, like I had enough time under my belt that I wasn't a detriment to anyone or anything like that. And it was a great experience. So yeah, when I read it, I was like, I got this.
It Justin, you didn't write it for Bill, but it just kind of fit for him, huh?
Yeah, he was he was perfect for the role, Bill. Yeah, and he did an
Thank
amazing
you.
job, and so did the rest of the cast. Also, Samantha did a great job scouting
Mhm.
for this movie. So
Now she was also Edgar's ex, correct? Samantha
Yes,
Russell,
Samantha plays
the redhead?
Addie.
Yeah, Addie.
mhm.
Loved her performance too, and the way you two played off each other. It was a lot of fun watching that. And I like Justin, the film opens, just a little spoiler for folks. The film opens with this wild couple. Um, were they eager to do this scene, or did you have to do a little bit of coaxing?
No, both Zach and Ashley were totally game to do that scene,
Mhm.
and actually, I mean, definitely one of the most fun nights shooting that scene. I think Zach might be happy that his face is covered the entire time now, but but yeah, we definitely they were definitely totally game to do that scene, and it was a lot of fun. My wife actually provided the wardrobe for that scene, so thank you,
Which,
Alexa.
which one, Zach's or just kidding.
Well, my wife, she owns like a leather
Oh,
fetish
okay.
company,
Okay.
so you decide which one.
So Sleepwalk Kill, I mean, it's got a great indie spirit, and you kept it. I could tell you kept it within your budget because for folks who don't know, why don't you? I should have started with this, Justin. Why don't you tell my listeners a little bit about what Sleepwalk Kill is about, in case they're wondering?
Bill, you want to take that? Actually, you did such a great job like a few minutes ago describing it.
Well, Sleepwalk Kill
There, here it comes. All right.
is the story of down on his luck recent divorcee Edgar, uh, who is kind of just going about his life as a loser and pining, maybe not for the person that he used to be with, but for the feeling of fulfilledness that he had gotten from being in a relationship. He's just kind of sad. And then one day there's this big sound, this kind of unexplained anomaly phenomenon where all up and down the East Coast, everybody that hears this sound outside, they find out that if they fall asleep, they start sleepwalking and murdering people. And but that's not where the true horror comes from, because in the middle of all this chaos, Edgar is also contending with his parents are in town. They come to stay with him. His uncle Pat's there. Oh, his ex-wife is in the fold. He's got to protect her. He's got a couple of lunatic neighbors that he kind of is forced to shelter. I think the thesis of the movie is hell is other people.
Oh, thanks, Bill. You did great, man. Actually, I just like to hear other people talk about the movie. Thanks, Bill.
Hell is other people. Well, yeah, you do have that night. You have that definitely have that Night of the Living Dead feel with people in the basement. Justin, were you kind of going for that angle? Because it felt a lot like, I'm like, this has got that
I
feeling
would
to it.
say subconsciously, like it wasn't something that I was thinking about while I was writing it. Although I do love that movie, so absolutely, absolutely, but not consciously.
Sure.
If you're really thinking about other movies when you're writing, you might get something a little too close to something else. But but definitely inspiration. Yeah.
It would be great to act like, oh, we knew that the basement, the
Subtext.
yes, you descend into the mouth of madness in the bit. But I think the real commonality is both George Romero and Justin Miller were like, I could get a basement,
I got a basement in my house. There we go.
Yeah,
Location
exactly.
covered.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nobody's gonna
exactly.
charge me to shoot in a basement.
Yeah. I'll pay myself to shoot in a basement. There we go.
Exactly.
So Justin, that was your house that you were shooting in for most of the film?
Oh yeah, almost the entire film. So like I said, I have a family, so I was I was kicking them out a lot for a few months, and I was literally moving everything around, rearranging the entire place so it looked like a bachelor lived there. So my wife was kind enough to let me do that, but I think it was like a one-time only sort of thing. I, I don't think she let me do that again, but she was really great and allowing us to do that. So.
And it wasn't just his own house in which Justin was a home wrecker. There were other families that we had to displace out of their places of living. So
was it your house too, Bill?
No, I said that's where I draw the line.
Sure.
I'll act in your movie. I'll do my best to produce it later down the line, but you are not to come into my. No, we had there were other folks in Yardley were like nice enough to go take a hike for a day so we could shoot in their house, and it was, and then they'd come back, and I remember the one day we were shooting in it was like a friend of Justin's right around the corner from where he lived. So we all took the trek over. His family was kind enough to leave. And then we got the word that they were like, all right, their dinner was great. They're on their way back. And we kind of like look around to a blood soaked house and we're like, okay. And then it was very funny to like consciously we were all conscious that we were in like a cleanup montage,
Sure.
like, and just kind of like Benny Hill style fast forward where everybody's scrubbing. Like even the sound guy had to like put down the boom mic to pitch in with a little elbow grease, trying to get blood up off the floor. And that was like it was. There were a lot of people that went out of their way to make sure that this movie could happen.
Yeah, the Mintons. That was the Mintons. Although we did leave rotting meat in their garbage can.
Oops.
And I think it was like the day after the trash came, so like the trash wasn't coming for another week, and they literally thought there was a dead body in their backyard. No, it was just meat that we picked up to play the dead dog in the movie.
I was gonna say, but you'll have to watch the movie to find out who.
Oh,
who's meat.
no!
Well, you just spoiled your own movie.
God damn it!
Whose dog was that?
That was a friend of mine. Really nice to let us have Nala for a day, and she actually hung out on set for like half a day, just for those few moments on screen. So really appreciate that, Maureen Gainey.
The dog was the best actor on set. The dog hit the mark every take, like knew to I feel like me and the dog developed like an immediate rapport where we were like, okay, yeah, we have this professional understanding. You're gonna come here, I'm gonna come in, give you the pets. We're gonna act like we've known each other for a long time. It was great. Dog, I don't know if there's Academy Awards for animals, but if there is, for your consideration, that dog.
There should be, because it seemed like you two were familiar. So I mean that's why I was like, wow, that that worked out really well. So
Did we
Maybe
like
in a
put,
past
like,
life.
yeah.
did we like put like peanut butter in your hand or something? Or
No,
that work?
nothing. It was
No?
just like a genuine immediate connection that me and this dog had.
Yeah,
I think I was a dog in a past life.
I did read an article somewhere they interviewed the dog and they said they'd like to work with you again sometime. So
Oh, lucky me.
yeah, they're throwing you a bone. Oh, sorry, I couldn't. I'm sorry.
Justin, you gotta get to work on Sleep Bark Kill.
Sleep.
Is it gonna be like a cartoon or what?
Sure, dogs
Yeah,
fall
well,
asleep,
I
animals
don't
fall asleep, and they wake up and they want to kill their owners. There you go.
to check with the dog's agent, see what their voice acting rate is.
Well, like, Nala has hip problems, so I think she retired from filmmaking.
Oh,
Fair enough.
that is
Fair
fair. now, Justin, did you play the sound for them before it happened in the film, or was just all post? It's like, you guys, okay, just you hear a sound.
Yeah, I was just like, hey, there's a sound, and just look up, and it's the fucking weirdest sound you ever heard. So just react to that. Yeah, I mean, no, I did not have any sound to play. Right, Bill? I mean, I was just like, hey, Bill, sound now.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, now I have to act, because prior to that, being a sad sack is kind of came naturally, and so that was like, it was that and having phone conversations where there was nobody on the other end. I was like, now I am an actor.
The SAG needs to be talking to you, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think I need a few more screen hours before they'll give me health insurance. That's what I'm in it for at this point.
We're in it for the insurance. Why are you acting? Oh, I want to explore new identities. What about you? Health insurance?
I want to go to the dentist. Yeah.
I don't want to pay out of pocket.
No.
So
pay my dues and that's it.
There you go. So I have to ask, did you notify the cops at all that you were shooting this film, Justin, or did it kind of guerrilla shoot in your neighborhood? You just went to all the neighbors and said, hey, we're going to shoot a movie, okay? So don't come out with, shooting us or anything.
So actually, I did go around to all the neighbors saying, hey, don't shoot us. We're shooting a movie. And there's going to be a prop gun on the street, and actually everyone was really, really amazing. They even like chipped in, like let us borrow their houses so people can walk out of them just so they could, pretend like there's a sound happening. And like, I just like kind of woke them up and like, hey, we're shooting this now. It's like, 7:30 on a Saturday morning. Do you mind just like stepping out for a second and they were totally game to let us do that. But actually at one point though, someone's son, like an older gentleman, I guess, was visiting the house, and he saw us shooting that scene outside with a prop gun, and he said like after like he found out it was a film. I mean there was a camera there, but he said he almost grabbed his firearm, and that's kind of scary, but because he heard all that yelling and stuff. So
Right.
glad he did it.
But man, what a shot that would be, huh? No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, the only way to stop a bad guy with a prop gun.
So I just, everything about this film was just what I really enjoy about indie film. Bill, you're in sketch comedy. You mentioned that. I saw in the write-up that you had all kind of worked in the Philly comedy scene. How much of your line did Justin let you improv, and how much did you have to stick to the script?
There were a couple times that like by the fourth or fifth take on something, I'd test something out just to see who I could catch off guard and maybe ruin another take, so we could have to do a sixth or seventh take. But for the most part, I was in great hands. What was there on the page resonated with me, so I didn't. I kind of respected Justin's writing enough to not try to get in there and doctor it at all, which is saying a lot, because in like there are a lot of times where I'll get a script and be like, yeah, I'd love to bring this to the stage, but I'm going to say this instead. And
and I'm
I
not
think that
going to
only
tell
happened.
you about it first.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just yeah.
I'm just gonna
catch
do
everybody
this.
off
Yeah.
guard. I really like making people break if I can. It's really fun. Like a really I don't know, just like a little perk of the trade, kind of getting up on stage and pulling something out of nowhere that nobody's expecting. But for the most part, I think there were maybe two things that made it into the movie that I
Sure.
had like,
Mhm.
improvised or tried out. But yeah, I was in. It was a good script, so it didn't. There wasn't a lot of room for
Sure.
improvising.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, my pleasure.
It reminds me when I was in a group called Delicious Ambiguity in college, where we did comedy sports on
Oh, cool.
and we were hosting expert, where someone does the hands for someone else while they're asking questions.
Yes.
And I was hosting, and I was asking questions, and I pointed to someone and said, and you who looks like a CNR major, college natural resources. After the skit was over, they came up to me and go, how did you know I was a CNR?
Oh, that's fascinating.
I was like, just a lucky guess. But I just said, Bill, I understand with that making people crack, that has to be fun, though a little frustrating, I'm sure, for a first time director, right, Justin? Or did you kind of roll with it?
Definitely rolled with it. I mean, I knew. I mean, I knew that like pretty much everyone on set was a comedian, so
Sure.
I knew it was going to be a lot of fun and really funny. And they all brought their A game, and and a few people suggested some singers that I think that made it into the movie. Yeah, Ellen, I think, did a few. But yeah, I mean, I knew that, like, especially Bill, he was like jumping over railings. That pratfall he must have did like what? How many takes? Probably like 15 takes of that fall. Where
We did enough. Yeah. I got home and my girlfriend was like, I thought you were off shooting a movie. And I was like, I was, and part of the movie was having to like slip in a puddle of blood and follow. And if that's the task at hand, look, I showed up to this thing. This is my first movie. I'm like, I don't know how to act. I'm not still not the most confident actor. It's not my wheelhouse. But I knew, okay, here's a scene where my task is to, as convincingly as I can, slip in this puddle of blood. And that to me was like a job that I could see if it went well or if it didn't go well. Acting's so subjective. Like, somebody might like a take, somebody might not. But if I could get way up in the air and fall down hard, I'd be able that I could like quantify you know what I mean? Like I was able to. So I was like, cool. That's where I come in. That's that's where I come alive. I'm gonna as bad. And they were like, oh yeah, that's perfect. And I was like, no, again. And
yeah,
so
and you did it so well that that the camera shook so much because you kept getting higher and higher that we ended up having to use, I think, the first take where it definitely wasn't. Yeah, I don't think you got bruised from that first take, but definitely the 14 after that.
were like really swollen and bruised in a way that I was proud of, and I've since learned to like value myself for other things. And
Well, it was a
uh,
very convincing fall. So
thank you. And we keep joking like, oh, we'll have a blooper reel. But if you, Justin, if you still have that footage, I would really appreciate getting to like just show that to folks. Just because I had so much fun doing it.
Yeah, man. I I have it somewhere, I think.
Sweet. Yeah. Let's it was just
So
fun.
one of the things I was curious about is for the legendary Wid, did you just have in there Wid says something, or did you actually write those parts? Because he just like seemed to be in his own world, which was a great character, but at the same time, it was like, how much of that is improv from Wid?
Actually, almost none of it was improv.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it just seems so natural being in his own world. Yeah, he did great though. But yeah, almost none of it was improvised. Those lines were written. Yeah, and he nailed them. Yeah.
Yeah, he
We were
did.
so lucky to have him. I was so looking forward to having the Wid on set, just because he's a comedian that I admired so much. Like, I don't ever laugh as hard as I do when I go to see the legendary Wid on stage, and he would just like, after a couple days where the first couple days he was consummate professional. He
Mhm.
was kind of like, aiming to let us know that he was there to do a job, and then like after he got comfortable, then the stories started flow, and like the and he is exactly who you would expect him to be, which is such a lovely realization to make, because he's such a lovely man, and he's so funny, and he's got so many cool like showbiz stories that just kept us super entertained, while somebody with more know-how was like setting up lights or something like that. The Wid would really keep us all cracking up.
I imagine that it made it a little difficult keeping straight on set when he was performing for some of the things he did.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh,
Totally.
yes, absolutely.
But like,
Now,
what a gift. There's so many worse problems you could have on a movie.
yeah.
It was really hard to pick which take to use with him, because every time he delivered the line like a slightly different way, but it was just freaking hilarious each time. So
So, Justin, you do have a number of folks who had acting experience. Was Melanie Rosedale had a couple. Ellen, were they able to? Was it a little intimidating for you being a first-time director, or did they make it easy for you?
of course I was a little bit intimidated, but not because of them, just
Mhm.
because it was my first time directing. But everyone really made it easy for me. Like everyone chipped in. Like if someone wasn't in a scene, they'd help like hold a light or squirt blood on somebody, or and so everyone really like, we became kind of like a family, like and yeah, and everyone just really they were patient. We had a few really long days, but everyone like understood that like we were like in this together, in the trenches
Mhm.
together. And so yeah, I mean, everyone was great.
Yeah, that sounds like true indie cinema, because there's really for when you're working on a small budget and a small film, there's really not a huge amount of room for egos, because everybody needs to kind of chip in and wear multiple hats, right?
Yeah, we couldn't afford it.
Yeah, you can't afford it, right? But you could afford some special effects. And I'm gonna say right now, my favorite scene wa- was with the head, with the killer who comes up to the house to the head. You immediately close the door,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
Oh,
and he
my wife almost killed me for for smashing that head against a new door that was covered in blood.
well,
A brand new door that yeah, but
oh, was it a new door?
it was a brand new door. Brand new door. Uh
And you told
but
that guy, hit as hard as you can, hit that door.
I did, and he did. So props to him. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the props you had were great, and the makeup effects. You don't have a huge amount of I guess whatever zombie like folks walking around, but where you do use the makeup was very effective. Did you know a makeup person, or did you have to seek them out?
Yeah, like I posted something online, and Allison Getz responded. Actually, I had someone drop out like
Mm.
a few weeks before we were about to shoot, and I know I'm very non-confrontational, but like that was almost the first time I got into a physical fight with someone, because the guy just was like attacking me, and I'm like, dude, we are not even shooting this movie yet. Like, I just asked you, hey, did you get this ready? Did you do what you needed to do? And and so we had actually like a huge blowout, and so like, oh my goodness, I need to find someone. And Allison responded, and she stepped up and did such an amazing job on this film. And like,
Allison Guest is a real
like,
pro. Yeah.
yeah, like really, it wouldn't be what it is without her. So she was amazing.
Yeah,
If you're gonna have somebody this close to you doing makeup on your fit, like
yeah.
smelling your breath, you could do a lot worse than Allison Getz. She was really, really nice and made us all real comfortable right away, because it's a very intimate thing, bloodying up somebody's whole body. So she did a good job of making everybody comfortable and made everybody feel safe the whole time, which was cool.
Yeah, and it looked great on camera. I was like watching it and I'm like, oh wow, but the severed head knocking on the door, that's just, I think that was my favorite gimmick right there.
Pretty badass, yeah.
I was,
Proud
I
of that
was
one.
well, what was funny is when he was coming up with to the door with the head, I'm like, you closed it. I'm like, is he gonna knock? Oh, he is gonna. It was like I was hoping for it.
Kind of a Chekhov's severed head situation.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you did get to spend a lot of time in the basement. You do have some interesting characters. One of them in particular, Paul character, who gets to be an a-hole, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
to the group. And you had to tie him up and whatnot. How'd you prepare for the intensity of those scenes, Justin? Because it sounds like everybody got along really good. You got a lot of group of comedians, and then you kind of actually have to play this guy who's a jerk.
Yeah, I mean, John showed up that day ready to do that scene. I mean, really, like he was locked in. He was in the zone. So I really didn't have to prepare. Now, like I said, they all made it so easy on me. And yeah, and so every yeah, we had a lot of laughs in between takes, but like when it was time to like turn it on and get serious, everyone really stepped up. So.
John's
Yeah.
like a cool actor. He's like super studied. And I'm trying to find the name of his podcast because I'd love to. He's got a movie podcast that's like a lot of fun to listen to. We might have to plug it some other time because I can't find it anywhere right off the top of my head. But he's somebody that like, yeah, he did the work so that when he showed up on set, he was ready to bring that heat, that intensity.
Yeah, that surprised me because you do get a little serious in here, Justin. I mean, it's you do have some comedy and some lighter moments, but you also played it serious. Was it tough getting that balance a bit to like, yeah, I want to do it serious, but maybe we need to lighten this scene up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, I wanted to do a, horror movie with like strong comedic elements. So not just like a straight out comedy, you know? But yeah, I mean, so like I said, though, there were some serious moments. And maybe like 5 seconds before we were rolling the camera, like we were like laughing so hard we were crying. But but when it was time to go, and they really did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I really had a lot of fun though with the mom character played by Ellen. She that just seemed. Did you pull from personal experience for relatives, Justin? Because she seemed so like a mom. It was
So like yeah, maybe not a relative, but
Mhm,
maybe a friend's mom a little bit.
mhm.
Maybe a close friend's mom who I don't I hope is not listening to this. Pulled a little bit from that, but yeah, definitely pulled from a little bit from my mom, but not too much. My mom is great, but yeah,
Yeah, mom, if you're listening, you're great. I love you.
mom, I love you.
Thanks for
You're the
everything.
best. You would never tell me not to put the peanut butter in the refrigerator.
Sorry, she had me rolling though quite a bit with it. Bill, when all was said and done and the film was together, what was it like seeing yourself on a big screen for the first time?
I was like, oh, cool. I don't come off as an ass. It was great because the whole time I'm like, I don't know. I don't yet have like a clear mental
Mhm.
image of how I appear on
Right.
screen, and I don't know whether what I'm doing works. I don't know if it's going to come across as stilted, or if I'm going to, maybe my performance is going to clash with I just, especially back then, didn't have all of like the tools in my tool belt to confidently
Mhm.
go into it. But now that it's here and I can like share it with people, I'm really proud, and I don't I don't think I loused it up too bad or nothing. Like I think it comes across pretty good, which I'm happy with.
Yeah, like the first thing you said was like, I just watched a rough cut of the film, and it's actually really good. Like I, I think you were a little surprised, but you freaking knocked it out of the park, dude.
Yeah, I think I was so like I was so inside my head and focused only on like what I was doing that like I forgot that there was an entire movie around me, and luckily everybody else was just as effortful in
Mhm.
their and put as much work into. Now they just may have done it a little bit more confidently than I did, but everybody put in like some really good work, so it was cool to see like, especially scenes for days where I wasn't on set. It was really cool
Mhm.
to watch because I was like, I had no idea that this even existed. Like the it was awesome, and I'm really proud to get to like share it with folks now.
What would you say, Bill, was your easiest scene to shoot?
Definitely just like when Edgar is kind of like sitting back on the couch eating pizza, burping, that kind of thing. Like that's they could have. Yes, I had to. I wouldn't have needed to leave my house to like convincingly
Sure.
film that. They could have joined me where I was, and even like wait a week, and I could, if you show up with a camera, you would just find that scene unfolding naturally. So that was easy. And then like anytime that I had to do something physical was really easy for me because I had
Mhm.
a little bit of confidence from just like doing sketches that
Right.
was like oh yeah, I could nail that.
Cool. And Justin, what about you? Was he eating part of the catering bill with the pizza there?
I think that actually was probably what we had on set that day for dinner. But yeah, I mean, I guess the easiest. I love that the final scene when we shot that. That was an easy
Mm,
scene to shoot. You guys seem so natural in that scene. I love that scene.
Yeah, it was not, and it was nice to like. We didn't shoot everything exactly in order, but it
mhm,
was enough of the arc that by the time we shot that last scene, it was like, yes, we have been on a journey together, so it
mhm.
was very easy to act like we had just been through something.
Yeah, it comes off very natural, and I like the way you ended it. I liked it. A little bittersweet, but I liked the way just the way you have it. Um, and your news breaks, Justin, the news guy. That I love the news breaks.
We actually shot those where we shot everything else in my house on a green screen. Literally where the stuff was, where everyone was gathered around. That's exactly where we shot that. But that Daryl is a really, really funny comedian.
Yes.
Tours all over the country, and I really appreciate he was able to participate in this film.
Yeah,
and he's in my next film too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I was just going to get to that, but I just want to say that I loved how after a while, that's where I kind of got a bit of a Night of the Living Dead vibe with his announcements. But just watching him as he just kept going, he's just like, you know, by the end, he was just the way he played that was hilarious.
And
Yeah.
listeners, if you're ever lucky enough to see like Daryl Charles pop up on the marquee at like the Laugh Factory or the Helium Comedy Club in your town, definitely give him a shot. He does a lot of comedy festivals too, so definitely scan the lineups for Daryl Charles. His is a voice that's really, really worth hearing. He's a very, very funny man, and he's got something to say too. He's a smart dude and very, very, very funny comedian.
Cool. Definitely have to look for more of his stuff because yeah, he had me rolling. It was just I'm like, yeah, that's what a news announcer would be doing at that point. So
Perfectly cast. His voice, he sounds just like a real news
Mhm.
anchor. So it was that was cool to see because that was again one of those things where I was like, I wasn't there that day, so it was neat to see it come together.
So
yeah, and thanks
oh, go ahead.
Samantha for finding him for me.
Yeah, that was great that you could get him because he fit the role well and just added that little extra bit to it. So Bill, what's next for you?
Well, I'm out here in Chicago now,
Nice.
and
Okay.
I've completed training at the Second City. Went through their
Oh,
conservatory
nice.
program. So in
Mhm.
that, met a lot of folks. Put together my own sketch group here called The Official. We're doing a lot of live shows. I'm also uh, I didn't tell them that, but one of the reasons that I put this specific group of people together is because I could see myself working with them on future projects. One of them being a slasher film that I've written, so I'm really excited to near pre-production with that.
Mhm.
As of yet, untitled, but I would love to have like a similar rollout that we did with Sleepwalk Kill somewhere down the line.
Awesome. Awesome to hear. Look forward to seeing that slasher when it comes to light. And
Thank you.
Justin, what about you, sir? What's next for you?
Yeah, so we just wrapped shooting a few months ago sci-fi comedy feature. And I knew not to shoot anything in my house this time, so we shot it in Hamilton, New Jersey, in a place nowhere near my house, in a cabin in the woods. But it's definitely an emphasis on the comedy in this movie. A less serious tone, but I'm hoping that we could release that at some point at the end of 2023.
Nice. So yeah, you had to choose a different location for domestic tranquility, is what you're saying.
Exactly. I actually just stayed there for 10 days and left my family alone, you know.
And she's just like, as long as you're not getting blood on the floor here, I'm fine.
I actually used a quilt a quilt that we had gotten for our wedding, the handmade quilt, to cover up one of the bloody bodies in the movie. So I think that was like the final straw with everything. But no, she was still great though.
Well, look forward to seeing that as well. And I guess I guess last thing I'll ask is Bill, what's your favorite horror movie?
Evil Dead 2. That
Nice choice.
was the most singular viewing experience I've ever had. Had a really cool teacher in high school who put it on for us, and I can't ever remember a more like formative experience as far as being like it just felt like I immediately had a vocation.
Mhm.
And I think it's because Evil Dead, like, I'd loved horror movies prior to that. Evil Dead was the first one that I was like, you can see the work that they put into it, and it makes it feel human, and it makes it feel um, relatable and approachable in a way that I loved, and it made me chase that for I'm still chasing that now. So that Evil Dead 2 for me.
Nice. Justin, what about you?
So for me, I would actually have to say Scream, because it really was the first movie that or horror movie that I watched that I was like, oh my goodness, this could be scary and funny at the same time. I love this stuff, and so much in that film like happened that you were just like, what? Like they killed off Drew Barrymore in the first opening scene.
Right.
I mean, it was just like the first time I ever felt like really invested in horror and comedy,
Yes,
combined.
Scream had that great balance, and it kind of brought back the slasher for a while. As it was fading in the 80s. So but yeah, those are both great choices. Solid films for sure. Very entertaining. So I thank you both for this time. And yeah, hopefully it's out on VOD now. Hopefully you get lots of likes and algorithms and whatever else they do for it. Are you getting a physical release too for it, or is it just going to be digital?
I believe it's just going to be digital.
Mhm.
Yeah.
For now, if they turn around and go, wow, this is the most successful movie since the Titanic, I'm sure there'll be some release. But until then, you'll need to search for it wherever you watch your streaming.
Well, thank you both folks out there. Check it out. It's on VOD. I'll have all the links and stuff on the webpage for this interview. And I thank you both. And yeah, we'll hopefully talk again when both your projects are up and done. I'd love to have you back and talk to you again about those. So
I'd look forward to that, Mark. It's been a real pleasure meeting you and speaking with you today.
Yeah.
thank you.
For having us, Mark.
You bet.